one. Argentina, folks, has repaid U.S. for currency swap deal. If you remember when this was first taking place, everybody was saying, you guys got behind Milei. You thought this was a good idea. It's a horrible idea. There's no way this is going to work. Where Milei came out and repaid the United States for currency swap framework it provided to the South American country last year to stabilize the economy. The U.S. Treasury, Scott Bessent, and Argentina's central bank said on Friday, Rob, is that the tweet that you have? I am pleased to announce that reflecting its strengthened financial position, Argentina has both quickly and fully repaid its limited draw on the swap facility with the U.S., such that the exchange stabilization fund currently does not hold any pesos. Bessent said in a post on X, we look forward to continuing our enthusiastic support of President Milei and Argentina, he added. Again, this is Scott Bessent. In a separate post, Argentina Central Bank added that it had settled the swap line in December, 2 months after it was announced. According to local newspaper La Nación, $2.5 billion of a possible $20 billion had been used in that time. A source with knowledge of the matter told Reuters that the agreement remained in force under the agreed terms. Tom, what happened here? Why is this such a big deal?
Well, this is a big deal because do you remember when all the banks were being asked, oh, yeah, would you like to do this deal with Argentina? And Trump opened it up to the U.S. banks. And all the U.S. banks says, well, we would want a backstop. Well, what a backstop is someone's going to stand good for the loan. And so all these U.S. banks were really asking you, me, us U.S. taxpayer in the form of the U.S. government, to be the backstop for this $20 billion for Argentina. Meanwhile, Milei was down there, got inflation under control. You remember him with the chainsaw and the whole thing running. Yep. Well, he went from the chainsaw to the pen, and it was afuera, which I think means out.
Kill it off.
Take it off. Yeah. And it was like, okay, Department of Nothingness and Trees, afuera. Remember, he took all those labels off the board and said, this is the government we need. We need defense, we need police, we need fire, we need pension for our people, we need a working government, all the rest of this stuff, afuera. Well, then he went to the U.S. government and says, hey, getting this under control to float the peso, we need a little bit of liquidity. We need several $1 billion of liquidity. So this was a currency support line that the U.S. banks didn't want to do. And so instead, it got done through IMF and the U.S. government. And guess what? They only needed $2.5 billion of the $20 billion line, number one. And number two, they stabilized the peso with the IMF, International Monetary Fund. And now Bessent comes out and says, by the way, all of you who doubted, it's working. So what Bessent is really saying, it's working. Inflation is down. They've stabilized the peso. They want to make a fund where the peso will peg with the dollar on a more consistent basis. And Bessent is saying, and by the way, ladies and gentlemen, the American taxpayer made tens of millions of dollars in interest on the $2.5 billion over the amount of time that the loan was, dating back to the election they had end of last year in Argentina. So this is a big deal. Pat, this is the kind of intervention that's good. Your intervention, hey, I need a loan to help myself and I need this. And you find great leaders with a reliable risk and you do it, and then the taxpayer gets paid back. So this isn't just foreign aid going into a bucket somewhere and never to be seen again. And so this is no less than Scott Bessent saying, hey, it worked. It worked for Argentina, it worked for Milei, and it's worked for the American taxpayer, and we've been paid back.
Let me tell you why I think this is a big deal. And Mark, I'm going to come to you. I want to hear your thoughts on this. You know why this is a big deal when I looked into it? Is imagine you go to a guy. Do you have that one person that every time they borrow money from you, they've never paid? Think about that person. Everybody has that friend, right? You may be that friend to somebody, but we all have somebody that never pays back the debt, right? You're watching and say, man, I'm kind of that person. Or it's Johnny, my cousin, my brother, whatever. Argentina was that person. They came, they got debt. 82, they never paid it back. They defaulted. 89, defaulted, never paid back. 01, defaulted, didn't pay back. And it happened 2 more times. So the entire world looks at Argentina and says, this is the one country that if you give them money, guess what? Never expect it back. And then all of a sudden, boom, here's your money back. Wait, what? To pay it back, the $2.5 billion portion of it, and to do it this fast, Their credibility went to the roof. He gets in. Inflation, I think, is at 200%. Now it's at 31.5%. He's telling the entire country we're not going to be printing money. I think as an operator, the world is now looking around, looking at countries that if you can lend them some money to make interest and expect that money to be back, I think Argentina officially moved from one bucket that nobody trusted to give money over here. And I think that's a very, very big thing that's happening to Milei. Mark, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I could see the initial pushback on this with it's just more government intervention. And so there's a knee-jerk reaction to that, and I understand that. But to the point that you made about Milei and what he's done in Argentina, I mean, a complete turnaround. I mean, what he's been able to do in a short period of time is nothing short of a miracle. But really what I think is when I look at this is I just look at the absolute competence in the Trump administration. Scott Bessent is a complete surgeon. He understands rates. He understands currencies.
Really
He understands swaps. And think about the competence that we have in the administration compared to previous administrations that we've had. And for him to be able, with his expertise, right, helping George Soros break currencies, he understands currencies. He was able to help a country out, a country that needs the help, benefit the United States taxpayer, the United States citizen. And so, all in all, I think it's a really good deal.
Yeah, and by the way, what a great hire. Right? At first, when everybody heard Scott Bessent, you're like, wait, what? Who is this guy? And the more and more you listen to him, you're like, this is a very qualified guy. He's been the right guy. On my list of guys, the executives that's been hired, he's probably number 2 or number 1 on the list of doing a great job so far. Brandon, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, it's like the concept of good debt versus bad debt. It's not like we're just giving them money just because they need it. Like it's an emergency situation. We don't know what they're going to do with it. It's like a credit line for a business. There's a reason that most businesses will take out a line of credit so they could operate and then pay their expenses, and then they'll make enough money to pay it back quickly. So it's like the concept of taking out a line of credit to do something productive rather than taking out a loan where you don't know if it's going to be used for something productive. So yeah, no, I'm all for it. That's what the swap lines were created for in the first place, I believe. Like after 2008, we set up those swap lines so we could inject money into Europe or other places around the world if need be. So yeah, I think it's really important that we keep this anti or counter socialism movement going in South America. Like so, we got Argentina now. Now we got
so
Venezuela, right? So one by one, hopefully we desocialize or desocialism South America.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy when you think about this. Taxes were supposed to be this way. In 1861, when Civil War comes to an end and Lincoln needs money, we're in debt. We're in debt a lot. He goes to the American people and says, listen, guys, we need to create a tax. You guys got to pay us and help us out. So he creates a progressive tax. Rob, can you pull up, was it a flat tax? It was I thought it was 3 tiers or something like that. The 1861 tax was a flat tax, 3% on incomes over $800, and then the later modified, okay, there you go, later modified to a progressive tax. You know what happened with this? They said, we need to pay this off, and we're going to put this tax until we pay off the debt. How long do you think that tax lasted? 7 years. 7 years later, after it was paid off, they eliminated the taxes. This is how taxes were before. Today, God forbid they launch a new tax. It is never going away. They're just going to raise it. This is why a lot of billionaires from California are escaping, knowing California just wants to tax people to death. Let me go to the next one here. For those of you that run small businesses, this is one thing that most people are not aware of. We run a consulting firm, ourselves called David Consulting, where we do engagements with around 10,000 businesses from 60 plus countries around the world. And this is 75% of our business. It's one of the best kept secrets we have in our company that no one knows about. If you come to our office and you see how we grew 9 employees just a couple of years ago to now 165 full-time employees. And if you go downstairs on where David Consulting is at, the energy there is electrifying. If you're a small business owner yourself, anywhere between 10 million plus $500 million revenue, if you're on that range and you want to find a way to get strategies, because each phase of a company goes through 5 phases, and each phase you have 5 challenges you face. If you want to know what those things are, go to beddavid.com, all the way to the bottom, fill out the information. We'll give you that 18-minute breakdown of what those 5x5 are. And then if there's a way we can help you take your business to the next level, whether you're raising capital, whether you have a compensation plan that needs to be readjusted. We just had the most incredible meeting last week with our firm on Tuesday and on Thursday, whether it's comp, whether it's LTIP, equity, whether it's expanding in a new market, regulation, marketing, podcast. different ways of getting your story out there, you want to learn more about how we can help you out, go to biddavid.com, fill out your information. One of our consultants at the firm will get a hold of you. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.